Amelia's eyebrows twitched and she turned her head, only to see the two people who were in the same team as Nicholas standing not far away from her. They also bought some supplies, but what they bought were food and medicine. Clearly, the mercenaries' life hadn't been very comfortable for them. They had to bet with their lives and fought against countless magic beasts in order to obtain some resources that could help them in the long run. So their expression was not very good when they were facing people who have been living a comfortable life. In short, it was jealousy, or perhaps envy, because these people were living the life that they could only imagine in their dream but could never have. Ignore them. Amelia tugged on Arnold's arm. There were so many people who have called her as the useless young miss of the Jones family from a long time ago. To be honest, such remarks could not disturb her in the slightest bit. There were too many people who didn't like her. And why should she pay attention to these people? It's better to live her own life and ignore these people's jealous remarks. I know. Arnold looked at the two people coldly and then patted Amelia's hand. He knew what kind of people there were on the border since he often went there. Many of them were people who cared nothing about laws and only cared for their strength. Because many times the laws couldn't fully restrict them. Some of them even dared to cross the border through a war-torn era and fought with their lives. It would not be so easy to reason with them. And it was also unnecessary. There was no need for them to explain their behavior to other people. TSK, now I understand why Nicholas didn't want to stay with his brother. Isn't it because he didn't want to serve a young miss like that? The other woman snickered and there was contempt in her eyes. Such a delicate person. Would she not cry when facing the magic beasts? Arnold's eyes were cold as he turned to look at the two people. He had met with many people who mocked him, but he could not allow anyone to mock Amelia. No matter what, she's the little girl he loves. Brother Arnold. Amelia held the man back. What? Can't do anything without your family background and the man who pampered you? What a waste. The first woman snorted and crossed her arms. This time, Amelia turned her eyes to look at these two people. Today was the first day she met with them. But she found out that they didn't like her and even stepped forward to mock her. She didn't understand. Did she do anything to offend them? Yet at the same time, Amelia also knew that there were many unreasonable people all over the world who would not care whether she offended them or not, but will come to provoke her. Back then, she would just use the Jones family's reputation to make them back off, because she could see that it was useless to argue with them. They would only speak more nonsense and made her angry. But they should never ever involve her boyfriend in their damn calculation. Amelia looked at the two people coldly. What is it? Are you jealous because your man is not good as my man? That he didn't want to pamper you all the time and instead made trouble outside? Watch your mouth. The first woman was furious. You don't know anything about me. Can't I say the same thing to you? Amelia sneered. You don't know anything about us, but you insist on provoking us. What good would it do to you? Who's provoking you? Just because you think that you're right, it doesn't mean that we're here to confront you. Yes, you should know yourself better. You're just some kind of pampered young miss in the city who couldn't even protect yourself. The two women looked angry and even talked righteously. Their expression made other people wanted to beat them up very badly. Amelia looked at these two people coldly and let out an angry laugh. Who's thinking who's right without knowing anything? If you really think you're so great, why do you want to make trouble out of nowhere? We're not making trouble, little miss. The woman looked at the guard who was coming over and sneered. What? You want to use your privilege to punish other people and made them suffer in your city base? Amelia also saw that the guards were coming and calmed down slightly. She looked at these two women and said, You're right. I'll use the privilege as a member of City A base to let you know that when you're in our territory, you have to follow the rules. If you don't want to follow the rules, you can go out of the city base. You! The first woman stopped her friend who was about to lash out. She sneered. How amazing! The pampered young miss is abusing her authority. How do I abuse my authority? Even if you make trouble to other people today, the result will be the same. Amelia snorted and turned around, not wanting to talk with these two neuropathy in the slightest bit. What do they think about provoking her in City A base? Didn't they know very well that the head of Cydia Base is surnamed Jones and also her father? As his daughter, why can't she have some privilege? The world is not fair, and some people's starting line was the finish line that many other people wanted to achieve but unable to in their entire life. Stop right there. Swish. Sensing the sudden attack, Arnold was about to attack, but Amelia raised her hand and a counterattack shield was formed. Bang! The attack was bounced back and there was scream coming from behind them. Kya! The woman who was previously very arrogant was now clothing her hand. At the critical moment, she failed to escape in time, and the counterattack directly sent an attack that was as powerful as her own attack but much faster. It's impossible. Amelia looked at the two women and tilted her head calmly. How is it impossible? She's already a rank 5 magic warrior, and it was not the type of magic warrior who was busy meditating and training all the time behind the scenes. Instead, she was the magic warrior who had fought countless magic beasts outside along with her teammates. Every single day, she would go out to fight against those magic beasts. Yes, I have good family background, and I'm the pampered young miss of the Jones family. But it doesn't mean that I'm someone who will stay and hide behind other people for my entire life. Am I? Don't generalize people, for every person is unique and had their own advantage and disadvantage. Amelia looked at the two people coldly. Yes, she's a pampered young miss of the Jones family. There was no need to refute this fact that almost everyone in the world knows. Amelia also didn't want to refute it, because she knew very well that without the Jones family supporting her all these years, it would have been impossible for her to reach her current state right now. No matter what, Amelia could not deny her family's contribution to allow her to live her current life. Her parents loved her. Her brothers also cares greatly about her. It was thanks to their company and care that she has a very fulfilling childhood and even smooth sailing in life. So she would never deny them, even if it meant that other people would mock her for being the pampered young miss of the Jones family. In a way, it was the truth, isn't it? If you can't even accept where you come from, how do you expect to achieve something? Amelia sneered and then tugged Arnold to leave. She didn't want to waste more time talking with these people. Without your family, you would have been nothing. The woman cursed as she held her bleeding arm, feeling aggrieved. The other woman wanted to stop Amelia, but when they were about to use their magic again, the soldiers had already blocked them. Why are the guards so strong? Bang! There were commotions on the back, and Amelia turned her head only to see the two women were being held back by the guards. She rolled her eyes and sneered. You deserve it. Fighting privately were not allowed in Cydia Base because it could easily disrupt public order and caused significant losses. Cydia Base was still in the growth and recovery period, so everyone who caused trouble would be punished greatly. Amelia was only defending herself just now, so the guards would not come to trouble her. As for these people who attacked first, they would be invited for a tea in the police station where they would be fined and then kicked out of Cydia Base. Don't be angry. They're not worth it, Arnold said in consoling tone, not wanting to see Amelia got angry like this. Humph. Amelia snorted and then asked, Are you also thinking that I'm just a pampered young miss? How come? Arnold reached out to hold Amelia's shoulder and looked at the young woman's eyes solemnly. I'm willing to pamper you for my entire life. So even if you're the useless young miss, it had to be because I'm the one who made you so. Amelia was stunned, and then her cheek flushed red. She wanted to hide far away, but Arnold's hands were holding her firmly in place. Yet it didn't hurt her at all. He was holding her gently and firmly. I don't need it, but I want to. Arnold smiled, and one of his hand moved from Amelia's shoulder to lightly touch the young woman's cheek. The touch was gentle and light, as if he was treating the most valuable treasure in the world. Seeing his solemn and doting look, Amelia felt that she was at loss for words. Cough. Seeing that some people were watching the fun on the side, Amelia quickly distanced herself from Arnold. Her face was still burning red in embarrassment. Arnold looked at his girlfriend helplessly, clearly feeling that they had chosen the wrong venue. There were still some people on the street, and they looked like they were performing idle dramas just now. I don't understand why your brother is willing to associate himself with people like that. Amelia snorted, changing the conversation abruptly. Arnold could see Amelia's red ears even from behind and smiled knowingly. But he didn't tease her and said, "There are many types of people on the border, but most of them are people who are used to bet their lives for the sake of obtaining a large amount of profit. Your family background meant that you will not have to experience such a thing in your entire life, so some people might feel unbalanced." Amelia pursed her lips. It was not her fault that she was born in the Jones family. Her family background is also her strength. "Don't worry about them," Arnold chuckled. "They wouldn't be able to do anything soon." His eyes flashed with ruthlessness as he held Amelia's hand and led her back to the Jones family residence. It was close to the time for lunch, and it would be better to eat enough together than worrying about this matter. Amelia was distracted by Arnold's request for food and quickly thought about what menu they should eat later. She completely forgot about the grievances just now. When she heard about them again, Amelia understood that Arnold never planned on letting them go so easily, no matter who they were. Ria and Samuel sighed. Bang! After Ria basically froze almost all of the existing Corpse Eater flying magic beasts, the two of them worked together to put these all into the space storage scrolls. Ria gave half of them to Samuel while she herself put these in her world. She ordered her jade doll to drain their blood. When it was time, she would make the magic scroll that she had long wanted to make. "You don't have to divide so much for me." Samuel held the space storage scroll in his hand, feeling helpless. As a magic warrior, he really didn't need these Corpse Eater flying magic beasts. Besides, being able to see Ria's spectacular formation magic not long ago was already very satisfying for Samuel. He didn't really expect to see anything more. "No, I want to give it to you." Ria looked at Samuel earnestly. "Even if you don't need it, you can trade it with the officials and also with the weapon refiners." She knew her strength and weaknesses very well. If she was asked to negotiate a deal with the weapon refiner who came from the other country by herself, Ria was sure that she wouldn't be able to get any beneficial deal, because she was not very good at estimating the price of her things. In that world, Ria would use the official prices that have been made by the Runemaster Association and would make profit from their difference. The amount was not much, but it was more than enough for her to live a comfortable life. Besides, the higher the ranks of the magic scrolls that she wanted to sell, the more money and resources that she could obtain. It has always been like that in that world. In this world, the price of the goods kept on changing because of various demands and so on. This made Ria feel extremely confused when she saw the rapidly changing prices and decided to give up from the very beginning. Asking her to estimate the price of her things when the market was so volatile like this made Ria felt dizzy. She was really not good at such thing. "It's better to hand over this matter to Samuel." "You're really?" Samuel shook his head, but he could also guess that Ria wanted him to negotiate a deal with the weapon refiners. While there were a lot of Corpse Eater flying magic beasts all over the world, there was no guarantee that the weapon refiner, Leon, would have enough for his projects. After all, Samuel was not sure whether the other party would need it. "If they really didn't want it, then just give it to me then," Ria added when she saw Samuel's expression. "Anyway, if that weapon refiner didn't want these Corpse Eater flying magic beasts' blood, then she would use it herself. There were many projects that she could use the Corpse Eater flying magic beast's blood for. "I'll negotiate the deal after we come back." Samuel finally took the space storage scroll back and walked towards the helicopter again. They took some time to collect all of these Corpse Eater flying magic beasts' corpses, but it was still relatively early. After all, the battle itself didn't really take that much time. Just a few minutes and it was done. Except for the fact that Ria ended up using up almost all of her mana, it seemed that their battles were very efficient. But this trick couldn't be used all the time. If there were still a lot of Corpse Eater flying magic beasts around, Ria would be in danger because she lacked of mana. "Great!" Ria smiled happily. Samuel reached out and rubbed Ria's head helplessly and then asked, "What kind of magic scroll do you want to make using these Corpse Eater flying magic beasts' blood?" Have you ever heard the chaotic magic scroll?" Ria looked at the hand that was making trouble on top of her head and was contemplating whether to slap it away or just let him have enough fun. After all, she did ask him for some help this time. "Chaotic what?" Samuel was stunned. The corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood is usually composed of mixed elements because of their diet. The fact that corpse-eater flying magic beasts could eat any kind of magic beast's corpses were not exactly a secret. But most magic beasts would only have specific elements in their body, and even if they were to digest food containing different element, it would never be absorbed into their body. These corpse-eater flying magic beasts have wind element when they attacked, but their blood has special properties. It would retain the other elements. Is it possible? Samuel was surprised. Don't ask me about how it works because I'm not a researcher. If you really want to know the principle, you can let the people from the Research Institute to investigate, Ria said as she took out a knife and slashed through the ice of the corpse-eater flying magic beast's corpse that she took out, for example. The pilot, who saw them return and thought that they wanted to go back. Do they have to do this in front of him? He could only silently look away. These corpse-eater flying magic beasts were really ugly, and the pilot didn't really want to see them in the slightest bit. If the person here was not Samuel and Ria, the pilot would have long left without hesitation. Splash! Ria took the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood and put it on a bowl calmly. The blood was red, and it didn't look any different from other magic beasts. But Samuel knew that Ria said the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood was special, so he tried to sense the mana fluctuation and all. His eyes narrowed slightly. The blood feels unstable. It was really unstable, and Samuel was a bit confused about this. You only have 4 elements, so you might not be able to sense everything, but aside from unstable, the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood is also very harmonious. Ria chuckled. They're basically the best material to make some special magic scrolls, especially one that need to use all element. Magic scroll that use all elements? What kind of magic scroll is it? Magic scroll of creation, Ria replied. Magic scroll of creation? Samuel was stunned and his brain worked rapidly. No matter what, his family had strong background in that world, and he himself was stuffed with countless knowledge when he was still staying under his family. To be the qualified heir, there was no way they would let him be an ignorant boy. So he had to learn a lot. And the magic scroll of creation was a special magic scrolls that could only be used by magicians and magic warriors, because the magic scroll would allow them to create almost everything they wanted. Yes, almost everything. The main use of this magic scroll was usually not for battles but for other things, such as construction, or even used to help in some difficult situation. Because as long as their imagination was strong enough and they have a lot of mana, they could technically create everything that they thought in their mind. Moreover, Magic Scroll of Creation is a proper rank 7 magic scroll. Only Runemaster above rank 7 would be able to make it. That just explains how difficult this magic scroll is. It's a very useful magic scroll, especially to deal with some emergencies. But it's not very useful in battle, Samuel said. Ria nodded. That's just the most commonly used, but for us Runemaster, the magic scroll of creation has a different use. After that, Ria dipped her finger on the blood and took out a paper. This was not the ordinary paper that could be found anywhere, but the paper that she had specifically processed that could withstand the mana of higher-ranked magic beast's blood. The trees have long grown and Ria planted more of them. Of course, the one who preceded the woods were naturally the jade dolls in her world. She had no time to process it one by one herself. While it was not impossible, but Ria was not willing to spend so much time taking care of these things. It was a bit boring, and she needed a large amount of these special papers. So the jade dolls are basically working overtime under Ria. Jade dolls, are you polite? They didn't even have a break. Swish! Ria drew quickly and the blood was transmitted through her own mana as patterns started to form on the surface of the magic scroll. It looked beautiful and mysterious, but Samuel didn't understand any of these patterns. He could sense that there seemed to be some mana fluctuation. But if he was asked to discern what these magic scrolls were used for, then Samuel would have to say that he really didn't know. After all, his knowledge of magic scrolls, formation, and runes were very limited. Ria would generously explain about these runes to Samuel if he asked. But how much he could understand and implement it was another matter. His talent in terms of runes was ridiculously low. This is the magic scroll of creation. Rhea finished drawing and showed the magic scroll to Samuel. The pattern looked mysterious and beautiful with some mana fluctuation, but Samuel couldn't see what was so special about it. And then, what I usually used these for is to make this. Rhea infused mana to the magic scroll of creation calmly, and then the mana fluctuation become intense. The next moment, the formation on the surface of the magic scroll disappeared and the paper seemed to have grown longer and extended to a few meters before stopping. The surface of the paper looked smoother and there seemed to be mana fluctuation on the surface of the paper. This is? Samuel was confused. This is special magic scroll paper that could even withstand rank 7 or above. The magic scroll of creation that I made before wouldn't last long before the paper break. Rhea replied calmly. Even though the material that she chose could temporarily hold out when making higher-ranking formation, it was still not very durable. Unfortunately, she still couldn't find any replacement. Rhea felt deeply regretful and could only use other means such as using the jade to carve the formation. But Rhea knew very well that it wouldn't be so easy. The jade she has was limited and carving on top of jade was more difficult than drawing on top of the paper. So when Rhea saw the corpse-eater flying magic beast, she was more excited than anything else. Because the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood was the main materials to make the magic scroll of creation. Even though the paper was fragile, the chaotic nature of the corpse-eater flying magic beasts made it possible for them to hold on for a while longer. Through using the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood, she would be able to create magic scroll of creation, and then using the magic scroll of creation, she could make better paper for her magic scrolls. In this way, she would be able to carve various rank 7 magic scrolls without limit. Wait! She didn't have enough magic beast's blood to make so many magic scrolls, so there was still a limit. But this limit was higher than what she expected in the beginning. So it was good. You're using it to create better materials to make more magic scrolls. Samuel was stunned by Rhea's operation. She could do it like this? Formations and runes are used to make things more difficult and there's nothing wrong with my operation, Rhea retorted. I just didn't expect it. Well, for people who are poor, using the magic scroll of creation can save a lot of our time to gather resources. The blood of the corpse-eater flying magic beast was extremely useful even though it's unstable. The problem is, magic scroll of creation usually couldn't last long and had to be used within a week's time. That is, if the one who draw the magic scroll of creation was good enough. Otherwise, it couldn't even last for a day's time. When Rhea first heard about the magic scroll of creation, she was confused why the scroll couldn't be popular. Later on, she understood the reason. With the magic scroll had to be used within a short period of time after it was drawn. How could it be popular? The existence of the magic scrolls was first created because they wanted to be able to use runes or formation at any time without time constraint. Besides, they also wanted to have support equipment during battle. But this magic scroll of creation had too many limitations that made them unwilling to use it. So this magic scroll remained unpopular. It seems quite useless. Samuel nodded in agreement. If the magic scroll couldn't last for a long time, there was not much point for them to carry it around when they were doing missions or fighting with the magic beasts. Most importantly, the magic scroll of creation is limited by the amount of mana and your own imagination. A rank 7 magician couldn't create something that will require rank 8 magician's mana to make. Rhea continued calmly. Samuel nodded thoughtfully. In that case, why do you want to gather the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood? The magic scroll didn't seem to be that useful for Rhea, right? That's because this is the best magic scroll to create resources that I need when there's nothing. Even if it can only last for a week's time, there's enough time to transport it to others. If I put them in a sealed space storage scroll, I can extend the disintegration rate by at least 100%, Rhea explained. So if she needed some kind of materials, the magic scroll of creation could create it. What she needed was enough materials and the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood to make it. There are indeed a lot of materials that you might lack in the green planet, Samuel said after thinking for a moment. For him, a magic warrior, he didn't lack anything. Most materials that he needed could be obtained easily through exploring the crack and so on. After all, what he needed the most was enough time to practice and so on. But Rhea is different. She needed various resources to make magic scrolls and the likes. Without enough materials, the magic scrolls that she created would also be limited in ranks and use. So the existence of the magic scroll of creation could help her greatly, especially on the green planet where materials suitable for Runemaster was extremely limited. No wonder Rhea is more excited when she sees these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Samuel felt that he had learned something new from Rhea. How about the weapon refiner? Why do you think they will need the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood? The corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood is usually used to create elemental weapons, Rhea replied. Of course, you can also use other magic beast's blood, but if you want to create elemental weapons with several different mana, using the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood is the best, because they could easily control which element to be retained and which element will be eliminated. The corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood basically contained all elements. Can you make it? No. Rhea pouted and then sighed. Making weapons are not that easy, Sam. I only know the use of the corpse-eater flying magic beast's blood for them, especially if they want to make powerful weapon. But if I'm asked to make it, I can't do it. She had already seen the process of weapon making in that world, but Rhea couldn't replicate it. She has no talent in weapon refining or something like that. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't. In that case, I can try to negotiate with the weapon refiner later. Samuel rubbed Rhea's head once more. Don't look so down. I'm not. There are still more corpse-eater flying magic beasts in the distance. I'll deal with them this time. Rhea's attention as attracted, and she looked in the direction where Samuel's sword was located. His sword could turn invisible, which was the feature that Samuel used the most in the past year or two. After all, they used to live a relatively peaceful modern world. Even after the earthquake, Samuel was used to have his sword remain hidden so that he could attack his enemy without them being prepared. After advancing to rank 7, he could directly store his sword in his soul, which was more convenient than bringing it around. But it seemed that Samuel has no such intention for the time being. Don't use the fire element, Rhea suddenly reminded. Samuel's main element is lightning and fire. These two elements were best known because of their destructive power, and if possible, Rhea really didn't want to see these corpse-eater flying magic beasts' corpses disintegrated into ashes. She needed their blood. Don't worry, Samuel chuckled with amusement. I know and will definitely hold back. He still wanted to prepare the best of everything to Rhea, so how could he possibly burn those corpse-eater flying magic beasts later? He will just deal with them using his lightning elements that he controlled. For rank 7 corpse-eater flying magic beasts, it wouldn't be so easy to kill them, but he could also use this chance to exercise. It has been some time since he advanced to rank 7. The last battle was more of a desperate move where he kept on betting his life, so this kind of battle would be more suitable for him to exercise. I'll protect you. Rhea looked at Samuel seriously. Yes. Samuel saw his reflection in Rhea's eyes and smiled tenderly. Rubbing the girl's cheek gently, he sighed in his heart. Should he talk to his father for proposal advice? Anyway, he didn't want any other people, and he hoped that he could be with Rhea openly and, if possible, announce it grandly to the whole world. But the thoughts were quickly suppressed. The matter of the magic beasts still had to be addressed. After their return this time, there was a very important matter that they have to deal with. The Otherworld's passage. It was a completely different passage compared to the cracks that headed to the world where magic beasts existed. Because the cracks were heading to an incomplete world that was merging with the green planet. But this passage, it would open to a complete world. And in this world, there might be a lot of magic beasts or even other creatures of a much higher ranks. Dealing with them wouldn't be easy. But it wouldn't be open until the 3 years' time was up or there were more than half of the returnees who have reached rank 7. There will be a special passage opening for them to enter in advance. Rhea noticed Samuel's eyes looked distracted and looked at the other side. It's already the 7th one. The Guardian Warrior, Samuel replied. Since the Guardian Warrior also has mana, the pattern was also extremely big. It should be in the form of shield, as this profession existed in the beginning in order to protect more people. But considering that returnee's personality, Samuel had the feeling that he was not advancing this profession for the sake of protection but for other purpose. As for what it is, he didn't know. And it was not his business either. Everyone had their own respective paths, influenced by their own past, worldview, and goals. He had no right to deny others of their life paths, as everyone has their own life. This meant the passage will be open, but we don't know where it would be. Rhea pursed her lips. That message told them that after the sixth person who advanced to rank 6 appeared, the teleportation formation will appear, and they could use it to enter the completely different world in advance. But they didn't know the location of that teleportation formation. We'll find it. There's no hurry. There are still more than a year before the official opening of the passage into our planet, Samuel said calmly. The message had told them many things clearly. When the third rank 7 appears, it is time for the world to enter the second stage of training, and when the sixth rank 7 appears, if it hadn't reached the year XXXX, the teleportation formation can be used for those who wants to go and explore the world they were about to face in advance. This was still the second year. It would still take a few months before the end of the second month, as the appearance of the second earthquake accelerated these returnees' advancement speed. You're right. Rhea nodded and then looked out of the window as the helicopter started to rise again. It was time for Samuel's turn to fight. Samuel shook his head and sighed in his heart. He knew very well that the existence of this passage could never be hidden, and there will be people using it in the near future. But the location of the passage was not revealed yet. The message said that they needed the sixth person, and now there are already 7 people who advanced to rank 7. But there was no point in hurrying about this matter. Would you like to go if you find it? Samuel suddenly asked. The existence of the passage or formation should be heading towards a completely different world, a far more dangerous world compared to their current world. Even if it was possible for them to protect themselves as a rank 7 magician and magic warrior, Samuel knew that it wouldn't be easy. After all, there would be many magic beasts far stronger than them in that world. It's completely different from their current world. Rhea blinked her eyes and smiled. Of course, why should I be afraid of challenges? Even though she had no plan to go right away, but she did plan to go to that world. Because Rhea could see that if they really wanted to protect the green planet and advanced at the fastest speed possible, going to the other world in advance would be the best option. Before that time, Rhea planned to pay a visit to the crack first, though. The second earthquake should have changed the crack to a certain degree, and there might be other treasures that they could get from the crack. Since it has been presented to them, there was no reason why they couldn't take it for themselves. I'll go too. Samuel nodded. Don't you want go guard City A base? The leader of City A base is still Mr. Jones, but Rhea knew that it was Samuel who influenced his father's decision in secret from the back. Even if it was not much, Samuel's existence basically supported the city base. They have been operating on their own for a long time, and I don't believe they can't do without me, Samuel said calmly. He looked at Rhea and there was determination in his eyes, the kind that Rhea was familiar with. And I want to reach the peak. This is his selfishness, something that he had told his father from early on. From the moment he came into contact into the magic world and learned about magic and aura, Samuel longed to reach the peak. It was also because of this that he couldn't become the leader of City A base. Mr. Jones had to step forward. Because Samuel was sure that he would not have time to manage the city base amidst his intense training. He didn't want to be an irresponsible B***starred who left everything behind. His father understood his request, which was why he didn't ask Samuel to be the head of City A base, but to let him focus on training and eliminating the magic beasts. So if there was a chance to get stronger faster in the new world, he will go. Rhea looked at Samuel with a dazed look and then nodded in understanding. The temptation to reach the peak was something that everyone who had been in that world knew very well. For the sake of this one goal, how many people have sacrificed their lives? It was basically uncountable. Then good luck to each other. Yes. The two of them smiled at each other, and soon they reached the area where there were many corpse-eater flying magic beasts around. This time, Samuel was the one who came forward and used his sword to deal with these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Rhea stayed behind and watched as Samuel cleaned up everything. He looked incredibly handsome with his sword, hacking through the enemies in front of him. Seeing his back made one feel that he was very reliable and that everything will be fine. Rhea smiled slightly. She liked this view occasionally, but she still wanted to stand at the front and deal with the enemies herself too. Samuel and Rhea worked very quickly. These corpse-eater flying magic beasts occupied a large area of land and seemed to reproduce very quickly. Perhaps the reason was because there were too many corpses around and those become these corpse-eater flying magic beasts' nutrients. That way, there were so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts that it was hard to count them. Even Rhea felt a bit tired when she saw them. From the excitement in the beginning to disgust. I really don't need so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Rhea was extremely glad that she had the jade puppet to help her deal with the bloodletting of these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Otherwise, Rhea was sure that she would vomit blood because she had to work by herself. Even now, there was still a large pile of corpse-eater flying magic beasts waiting to have their blood taken in her world. As for their bodies, Rhea let the world recycle it. Anyway, she had no intention of eating the corpse-eater flying magic beasts' meat, and their body parts were not worth that much. Because the mana was mixed, it was hard to use the corpse-eater flying magic beasts' body parts to make anything. Rhea is also not a weapon refiner and had no use of the other body parts. The part of the magic beasts that she needed the most is only their blood. Because she wanted to draw a lot of runes and a lot of magic beasts' blood would be needed for that. Well, the military will take over the operation, Samuel said helplessly. He also felt a bit tired after killing so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts in the past few hours. After he and Rhea killed these corpse-eater flying magic beasts, they were busy collecting the bodies. For Samuel, he just wanted to use it to negotiate some deals with others. Thankfully, Rhea gave him a new space storage scroll of high level, allowing him to store a lot of corpse-eater flying magic beasts' corpses. Otherwise, Samuel really had no idea where he had to store these things. There are too many corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Oh, the military is coming? Rhea's eyes lit up. It was already dawn and neither Samuel or Rhea needed to sleep. They only meditated for a while to recover their mana and then spent their time chatting on the rooftop. The pilot was sleeping inside the helicopter. Unlike the two of them who could completely replace their sleeping time with meditation, the pilot still needed to sleep. He knew that meditating would also help him to recover his mental state. But most people were still used to sleep and didn't want to spend their entire time meditating. There were many people who were like Amelia. They ended up falling asleep midway because they were too sleepy. Well, it was indeed impossible to force people to meditate all night long. Aside from the fact that it was boring for most of them, there was also a limit to how much mana that most people could store. At lower ranked, it was simply impossible for them to meditate for hours without stopping. Yes, I received messages that the surrounding bases have already sent their military. They will arrive in around 3 hours to clean up the corpse-eater flying magic beasts, Samuel explained. Rhea nodded happily when she heard that. There were simply too many corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Even if she was greedy for their blood, she also knew that it was so tiring to clean up all the corpse-eater flying magic beasts on her own. There were hundreds of thousands of corpse-eater flying magic beasts in this area. They grew up so quickly that it was almost impossible for them to react in time. By the time they noticed, these corpse-eater flying magic beasts were already very hard to deal with. Can we leave early and leave these corpse-eater flying magic beasts to them? Rhea asked. After they destroyed the areas with the highest concentration of corpse-eater flying magic beasts, what remained were the scattered small nests or the scattered magic beasts that only formed small groups. These military might not be as strong as the two of them, but they should not have any problem to deal with the scattered corpse-eater flying magic beasts. After all, they were not that weak. Both Rhea and Samuel had no intention of pampering the military. If they couldn't become stronger, what awaited them in the future would be nothing more than the destruction of the entire green planet. Sure, but we better wait for another hour before leaving. It's still dark and the pilot didn't have night vision like us, Samuel added. It was almost dawn and after dawn, the sky would be brighter. At that time, the pilot wouldn't have any trouble bringing them out of this area. Yes, Rhea agreed. How about teaching me about the magic scroll of creation while waiting? Samuel asked as he pointed to the stack of paper that Rhea had taken out. He could see that Rhea was bored and simply made a few magic scrolls to train her mana control. Yes, Rhea drew runes to train her mana control. It was the degree that most people would never be able to replicate in their entire life. Because Samuel could see that Rhea only needed a few seconds to draw one formation, and even if it was a bit more complicated, at most it was only 1 minute. 1 minute. Just thinking about it, the biggest problem for Rhea was nothing more than her lack of mana. Some of these magic scrolls required a lot of mana to make, and Rhea would have to meditate for a long time to recover her mana afterwards. It was not very efficient. Though it was indeed impossible to expect Rhea to be efficient considering that recovering mana is indeed a slow process. Even Samuel also took some time to fully recover his mana each time he ran out of it. You want to draw runes? Rhea asked with difficulties. It was not impossible for her to teach Samuel how to draw runes or something. After all, teaching this kind of thing didn't really take up that much time for Rhea. The problem is, the student is a bit dull, and even if she explained a few times, he might not be able to understand what she was talking about. Just thinking about Tit made Rhea felt a bit uncomfortable and didn't really want to teach the other party. Samuel saw Rhea's expression and was speechless. I don't have any plan to learn how to draw the runes and magic scrolls, but to use it. Even Samuel knew how bad he is in terms of drawing magic scrolls. While it was not impossible for him to sense the mana fluctuation relying on his perception as Magic Warrior rank 7, he knew that it would be difficult for him to truly become a master. Besides, who would want to waste their time learning their worst subject? Samuel definitely didn't want to. It was too tiring. Oh, if it's using the magic scroll of creation, then it'll be easy, Rhea said as she handed over the magic scroll of creation that she had drawn not long ago. She had already taken a lot of corpse eater flying magic beasts' blood, and drawing these magic scroll of creation didn't really take that much time for her. But since they had to be used quickly, Rhea didn't plan to draw them at first. Since Samuel wanted to try it, then she'll give him some. Swish! Swish! Within a few strokes, the magic scroll of creations were drawn, and Rhea already had 3 magic scroll of creations in just a short few seconds. Wait! I don't need that many. Samuel stopped Rhea before she could draw so many magic scroll of creations. While they did obtain a lot of corpse eater flying magic beast's blood, but it would be better not to waste it for his little experiments. He was only thinking about trying to use the magic scroll of creation to try some ideas. What do you want to make? Rhea stopped handing over so many magic scroll of creation to Samuel when she saw that he really didn't need so much. Anyway, it was very easy for Rhea to make it. Since there was more than enough corpse eater flying magic beast's blood, she didn't think about saving it either. Materials to upgrade my sword, Samuel replied. He had this idea after watching those corpse eater flying magic beasts in the distance. After all, what Samuel needed the most was the materials to upgrade his sword. Most of these materials were rare metals and minerals that didn't exist on the green planet. Some of them could be found in the crack, but the amount was not much. It took him a long time to be able to upgrade his sword before, and Samuel put this matter on the back of his mind because it was useless to worry so much. After all, there was no point in searching when it didn't exist. But after seeing Rhea use the magic scroll of creation, he had the idea of using it to create the upgrade materials of his sword. It's possible, right? Rhea arched her eyebrows. If the materials are above rank 7, you won't be able to make it. These corpse eater flying magic beasts are only rank 7 at most, so don't try to hope too much for the rarest materials. She knew that for soul weapon or something like that, the materials needed to upgrade their weapons would be extremely rare. The problem is, finding those things were difficult. In that world, they would have to buy some materials at sky-high price in the auction, but those items didn't appear all the time. So they have to be patient. In this world, well, let's not hope anyone can find those things. Collecting the materials themselves will definitely take so much time that it was difficult for them to do anything else. Let me try. Samuel infused mana to the magic scroll of creation, trying to imagine the rarest material that he knew that he wouldn't be able to find. Swish, and what appeared in his hand was the downgrade version of the mineral. Samuel? Ift. Ha ha ha. Rhea couldn't help but laugh out loud when she saw the result of Samuel's action, because she knew very well that if Samuel were to try making the minerals that were too rare, the magic scroll of creation couldn't really make it. While the name of the magic scroll was really domineering, well, in a way it is, the effect was actually not as good as its name. Stop laughing. Ah, Samuel. The pilot was trying his best to concentrate on driving, not listening to the two people behind. At this moment, he was lamenting whether he should apply for damage compensation. Damage for being fed dog food almost all the way in the journey. While the pilot genuinely respected Samuel and Rhea greatly because of their abilities and contribution to Continent Z, he really didn't want to watch them interacting with each other. This site is really unfriendly for single dogs. So even though the two people didn't actually do anything outrageous, it was still something that the pilot didn't want to see. So the rumors that the two returnees are together is true. To be honest, some people were thinking about getting close to the returnees. After all, if they could hook up with these people, their future would be guaranteed, and many people were tempted when they heard it back then. Who doesn't want to have a promising and beautiful future? With the returnees' protection, they were confident that they would become the most powerful one below these returnees. As for surpassing them, one can try to dream, but it was unlikely to happen. But it seemed that there would be at least two returnees whom they could erase from the list to try. Because not many people have the confidence to compete with these returnees who have experienced a lot in the magic world and came back to this world. Stop messing around here. While the pilot was still trying hard to focus on his task, Rhea was pushing Samuel's hand away from her head. While she knew that she's shorter than him, it didn't mean that she will let him mess around with her hair. I'll try other minerals, Samuel said as he took the second magic scroll of creation. Since he couldn't make the rarest mineral, he could try to make the other metals and minerals that his sword needed. Just try. Swish. Before long, the mineral was materialized on Samuel's hand. He looked at his hand quietly and nodded in satisfaction. The composition is correct and it can be done. Rhea glanced at Samuel. You're not thinking about using the magic scroll of creation to let the researchers research rare minerals, are you? Your mana will run out before you can create all of them, and you can't feed those people all by yourself, so you better forget about it. The capability of the magic scroll of creation would depend on the person who used it along with the materials itself. Since the blood came from rank 7 Corpse Eater Flying Magic Beast, the highest rank that they could possibly make is only rank 7. Samuel himself is a rank 7 magic warrior, so he could easily make these minerals. But how about other researchers? They wouldn't be able to do it. And Rhea also didn't want to be forced to stay in Cydia base and created a lot of magic scroll of creation just to fulfill their needs. She wanted to go out. You're right. Samuel pulled his thoughts back from the unrealistic thoughts that crossed his mind. He did think about using these magic scroll of creation to help the researchers make new weapons. After all, if these magic beasts become stronger in the future, they would also need to have strong enough weapons. There was only one weapon refiner on the green planet. Could they possibly ask him to prepare a lot of weapons for all 4 continents? It didn't seem to be plausible, because they were only one person. Is it possible for you to teach other people how to make the magic scroll of creation? Samuel suddenly asked. If they could let someone else make the magic scroll of creation, then they would be able to solve a lot of problems. Besides, they have more than enough Corpse Eater Flying Magic Beasts blood after killing so many of them. All they needed to do was to do some bloodletting and collect the blood. After that, the existing Runemaster would draw the magic scroll of creation, and someone else will use it through imagination to create various materials that they badly needed. Magic Scroll of Creation is a proper rank 7 magic scroll. Only Runemaster above rank 7 would be able to make it, Rhea said quietly and then added, even though Ruben is my student, he could barely be considered a rank 3 Runemaster. His improvement is not very fast, and there are many things that he had to learn to be able to advance. If it was just to let a magician reach rank 7, then it would have been much easier. The problem is, the magic scroll of creation needed them to become a real rank 7 Runemaster. Rhea could do it since she's already rank 7. But if she had to teach other people, they needed to reach rank 7 first before it would be possible to teach how to draw this magic scroll. Samuel was silent. "It seems that I thought too much," Samuel said with some exasperation. Once a Rune Master reached rank 7, would they be willing to spend most of their time making the magic scroll of creations? Absolutely impossible. Even though the magic scroll of creation was useful for many people for various reasons, but there were a lot of limitation for this kind of scroll that could defy many things. One of them was the fact that not everyone could get what they wanted through the magic scroll of creation. The second one was the fact that these magic scroll of creations could only be drawn by Rune Master above rank 7. Rune Master is not a common profession. At the very least, those who have some talent as Rune Master would never put it as the main profession like Ria, but to put it as an auxiliary profession. In this way, how many years would it take before a real rank 7 Rune Master would appear? They only have slightly more than a year's time. It would be impossible for them to train a Rune Master to rank 7 in such a short period of time. The message at that time was very clear. Each of them was the best in their respective field. While Ria could reach rank 7 as Rune Master within 4 years' time, but this was already the best result that people on the Green Planet could possibly achieve. Moreover, the current environment on the Green Planet is also different from that world. Could they really expect other people to reach the same height as Ria? It would be unrealistic. Forget it. Samuel sighed and simply asked for a few more magic scroll of creations and made the minerals for his own sword's advancement. As for others, sorry, he didn't have the ability to give it to them yet. Perhaps when there were other rank 7 Rune Master appearing on the Green Planet, it would be possible for them to mass-produce magic scroll of creations and then created some things that humans truly needed. For now, this idea could only be shelved. I never said that you can't give them anything. Ria was amused when she saw Samuel like this. Just give a few samples for them and they might be able to make a breakthrough in specific research's field. After that, we'll figure out how to obtain the materials needed in the future. While Ria is not the most patriotic or selfless people in the world, she still hoped that the Green Planet will not be destroyed under the hands of these magic beasts. If what they needed was these magic scroll of creations, then she would figure out a way to mass-produce it. Anyway, drawing these magic scroll of creations were easy for Ria. It just consumed time and mana. It's dawn. Seeing the sun rising, Samuel stood up. It's time to go back. Leave these corpse-eater flying magic beasts to the soldiers. Yes. Before Ria could wake the pilot, Samuel had already stepped back first and disappeared into the helicopter. Ria? Do you need to be in such a hurry to wake the pilot? She didn't understand why Samuel suddenly made such a move, but she quickly entered the helicopter too. As for the corpse-eater flying magic beasts, they were left behind for the officials to manage. The number of corpse-eater flying magic beasts was large, but the strongest and the largest nest had long been destroyed by Ria and Samuel. What left was only the weaker corpse-eater flying magic beasts that was scattered around. These corpse-eater flying magic beasts were really weak, and it was easy to deal with them as long as one had some strength. Their biggest problem would be the fact that these corpse-eater flying magic beasts were flying on the sky. Aiming them would be a bit more difficult, but some practice it would not be impossible. Samuel and Ria were on their way back to Cydia base while Mr. Jones finished cleaning up the aftermath of the magic beast's tide. There were many magic beasts' corpses. Some of them were like these corpse-eater flying magic beasts. They couldn't be eaten and could only be tossed away. These magic beasts' corpses would be exchanged with Ria for some second-rank space storage scroll. After all, the first-rank space storage scroll could be made by other Rune Masters. What they wanted was the second-rank space storage scroll. Samuel had already negotiated the price with them and Ria just needed to draw the second space storage scrolls. These were also used to store these magic beasts' corpses. It's finally done. Mr. Jones looked at the report in his hand and felt that his old body really couldn't withstand this terrible working schedule and time. Even though his body had been strengthened after he became a magic warrior under his son's guidance, he still felt that he was actually really weak. It was inexplicable. Mr. Jones, the people from the Magic Association are here to talk. The men suddenly came to report. Mr. Jones. He had just solved the problem of the magic beasts' corpses outside of Cydia base, and these people couldn't wait any longer. Facing these magicians from the Magic Association, Mr. Jones just wanted to throw them all away. If possible, it would be best if they could not stay here any longer. What do they want to talk about? Mr. Jones asked. If it's about the Magic Beasts Corp's distribution, the regulation had already been made and there's no use complaining to me. Because the rates were determined after the joint agreement with the officials and military who were also working here. Everyone wanted profit, so Mr. Jones had to maintain the delicate balance and satisfy all parties. It was difficult. But as a business who had been working for such a long time, Mr. Jones could be said to have experience and didn't feel that much difficulties in this matter. Instead, he felt that it was relatively easy. No. They're here to request for a base. Tell them that there's nothing to talk, Mr. Jones said, refusing to even meet these magicians from the Magic Association. He knew very well that the moment the topic was about their temporary base, Mr. Jones couldn't compromise. He had promised Samuel about this matter. Moreover, these magicians from the Magic Association also decided to take Sierra under their wings, while knowing full well that Sierra is Ria's half-sister whom she hated very much. Ria is the Runemaster, the returnee whom many people valued greatly, because Ria's contribution was extremely great. Yet, the magicians from the Magic Association still chose to side with Sierra simply because of the Tarun family. The Tarun family had latched onto the magicians from the Magic Association from a long time ago. Mr. Jones didn't even know how they did that. After all, the earthquake had only happened slightly more than a year ago. Yet, the Tarun family had long been close to the people in the magicians from the Magic Association long before the earthquake happened. Coincidence? Rather than coincidence, Mr. Jones would rather believe that this is a premeditated plan. After all, how many people believed in magic before the earthquake happened? Everyone who saw those magicians from the Magic Association in the past would probably think that it was nothing more than a joke, something that they didn't have to pay attention to and would just laugh at it. Because only fools would believe in magic. Yet, the Tarun family had already believed in magic for a long time. Mr. Jones felt that the Tarun family might have heard some inside information long before the returnees first appeared, allowing them to gain close connection with the magicians from the Magic Association. Yes, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones sighed as his men left. Their attitude towards the magicians from the Magic Association always remained the same. It was refusal to cooperate with each other. Even though they all knew that they should cooperate more for the sake of the Green Planet, Mr. Jones would feel really uncomfortable if he had to cooperate together with the magicians from the Magic Associations. The lower-ranked magicians were fine. They were just people who joined the Magic Association in order to get higher strength and had the chance to fight against the magic beasts. Mr. Jones had nothing to say about them and even felt that they were all miserable people. After all, the magic spells that the magicians from the Magic Association used were all, well, it was quite explosive and a bit hard to see. Anyone who dared to sing those songs definitely deserved the highest praise. A grand applause. Because Mr. Jones felt that his face would heat up first if he had to replicate these magicians from the Magic Association's magic spells. Where are Amelia and Sean? Mr. Jones suddenly called his wife and asked. He hadn't seen Amelia and Sean ever since the magic beasts tied. These two children were running away somewhere and he couldn't find them. Sometimes, giving too much freedom to one's children was not a very good idea. Sean is still in the hospital, Mrs. Jones replied. He's helping the injured and also practice in the lawn nearby. Helping the injured? Mr. Jones' lips twitched and he felt that Sean was deceiving them. Who didn't know that the formation Ria gave to them had protected the people in City Abase from the magic beast's tide. How many people could be injured with such a grand shield open and protecting them tightly? He was clearly there for the sake of his girlfriend. Forget it. Mr. Jones was too lazy to argue. Amelia? She's heading out with Arnold to practice and kill the scattered magic beasts out there, Mrs. Jones replied. It seems that her situation is quite good. Her improvement is very fast when she fought against the magic beasts. Mr. Jones nodded subconsciously, forgetting that this is a phone call and his wife couldn't see his action. Amelia's physique was a bit special and Mr. Jones also felt helpless about it. On one side, it would be good to leave these magic beasts for Amelia to practice. But on the other side, they couldn't possibly do something like that. Because if they didn't clean up these magic beasts, the magic beasts would definitely multiply and possibly threaten them. Just look at those corpse-eater flying magic beasts that Samuel and Rhea fought not long ago. Thinking about the fact that there was a large number of corpse-eater flying magic beasts ready to attack them already made Mr. Jones scared. If they didn't find these corpse-eater flying magic beasts early, they would have to face another magic beasts tide. And this time, the magic beasts tide would come because of the magic beasts on the green planet instead of the crack. It was somewhat saddening to think about. Mr. Jones talked with his wife before his men suddenly rushed over. Mr. Jones, young Master Samuel and Miss Rhea have returned. Mr. Jones. Finally. He had been waiting for these two people to come back, but they were too eager in dealing with the cracks and the corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Now that they were back, it was time to talk about some things. Mr. Jones hurriedly went out of his office. Samuel and Rhea had just returned to Cydia base when they saw that the street was almost completely empty. So many people are deduced to hunt the magic beasts? Rhea looked a bit confused when she saw the empty city. While Rhea was confused, Samuel seemed to think of something and showed a bitter smile. I think it's mostly because Cydia base is too safe, and it's hard for them to hunt scattered magic beasts on normal times? Rhea was stunned, and then she looked speechless. It was a good thing that Cydia base is safe. But there were many people who felt that they didn't have a chance to grow up because the magic beasts nearby had been eliminated in advance. Even if they wanted to, they didn't have the chance to perform in the slightest bit. They're really enthusiastic. Rhea chuckled. She didn't think that these people would have the goal like the returnees. If they hadn't experienced the life in that world, most people would not have the fixation to reach the peak of their profession. Instead, they would take one step at a time and see how it is in the future. It's a good thing that they're trying to become strong, Samuel said calmly. If they remain as before, they wouldn't be able to deal with the magic beasts and might end up dying on somewhere unknown. Rhea chuckled and nodded. Let's report to Uncle first? Yes. Samuel nodded and then added, You can call him Father from now on. Rhea? She silently formed a runes and slapped it behind Samuel, sending him a few steps forward in a staggering movement, nearly falling down. Do you want to murder your own husband? Samuel gave Rhea an aggrieved look. Rhea was silent. The domineering and confident Samuel naturally rarely showed such an expression. After all, he had been cultivated ever since he was young and usually showed adult-like appearance even when he was young. It was quite cute in his parents' eyes. But now, Rhea saw the expression on Samuel's face and stretched her hand to cover up his face. Stop spouting nonsense. We're not married yet. I can fill the marriage registration. That thing is still open? The Civil Bureau? Of course it's open. But there are not many people reporting for marriage these days. Rhea, if a lot of people could apply for marriage when they were still busy thinking about how to survive, it would be a miracle instead. Seeing Rhea was about to beat him up again, Samuel laughed and stopped teasing the other party. It was nice to see Rhea's expression, but he didn't dare to do this too often. The runes that she used just now was a rank 6 runes. She's really ruthless. It didn't take long for Samuel and Rhea to see Mr. Jones already waiting for them in the lobby of his office. Father, why are you here? Samuel frowned. You can wait in your office instead of going down. There are a few things that I need to talk with you before those people come, Mr. Jones said helpless. The magicians from the Magic Association will definitely know about these two people's return in a short period of time. After all, neither Samuel or Rhea were trying to hide their presence. It was obvious that other people will know in a short period of time. Thankfully, during the time when Samuel and Rhea were not in Cydia base, no one really dared to make trouble aside from those magicians from the Magic Association. They wanted to find Mr. Jones for negotiation on various matters several times, nearly making Mr. Jones faint from anger. He really felt that these people were truly shameless. How many times does he need to reject the magicians from the Magic Association for them to give up the thought of building a small base for them in Cydia base? Mr. Jones didn't know. He felt that the matter of these magicians from the Magic Association should be handled by his son instead. As long as Samuel stepped forward, no magicians from the Magic Association would dare to step forward and override his decision. This was how much the authority that Samuel has right now. Did they make trouble again? Samuel's face darkened. Those magicians from the Magic Association had just confronted Rhea when they were arguing about the crack, and now they wanted to reach their hands towards Cydia Base? What gives them the right to make trouble like this? No. They just ask for another base and there's someone there. Mr. Jones looked at Rhea on the side, not sure how he should convey this matter. Sierra has taken refuge with the magicians from the Magic Association. Even though she herself is a demonic magician, the Magic Association was still willing to accept her for some reasons. Sierra? Rhea suddenly asked. Yes, I don't know how she did it, but the magicians from the Magic Association want to protect her. Even if it's possible to kick her out, it couldn't be done anytime soon, Mr. Jones replied. After Sierra was reported as demonic magician, Cydia Base naturally didn't want to keep her. Most bases would not accept having a demonic magician among the people under them, and Cydia Base was not an exception. In the past, they just needed to proceed with the formality to kick her out. It was easy. But after Sierra became part of the magicians from the Magic Association, things have become different, and even if they kicked her out, she would go with the magicians from the Magic Association. It doesn't matter. Rhea shook her head. Just do it in accordance to the rules will be enough. Even if Sierra is a demonic magician or had become part of the magicians from the Magic Association, Rhea still didn't take the other party seriously. This was because Rhea knew very well the limitation of the demonic magician. As for the magicians from the Magic Association, well, unless they could get the real magic spells one way or another, their magic spells would remain as the children's version of magic spells. Those magic spells were not very effective and couldn't be used. And it's not like I have to do anything on my own. Rhea's mind wandered for a moment. There were many methods that she could use if she wanted to eliminate Sierra, but she hadn't done that, because she felt that there was no need. Unless Sierra kept on provoking her, Rhea didn't really want to bother with the other party. There was no point paying attention to other people's lives all the time when she was busy with her own things. They have grudges, yes, but most of the time those fights would end with her retaliation against Sierra. She has never been someone who would suffer losses in silence. Even though she never actually have such a firm stance in the past because she didn't dare to do anything excessive. But right now, Rhea couldn't care less about those people. Countless live and deaths experience in the other world made her realize that most of the conflict between her and Sierra were nothing more than childish tricks. It was far from comparable to her experience. So unless Sierra wanted to kill her, Rhea had no interest to look at the other party. All right, if you say so, Mr. Jones nodded. He didn't know what Rhea was planning, and even if she wanted to kill the other party, he would not say anything. After all, it was not his position to decide what to do. Can I ask for someone's number? Rhea thought about someone as she reviewed Sierra's activities in the past few months. Yes, so that I can be prepared if she really try to offend me again. Rhea smiled. She has no plan to kill Sierra, but considering how the other party often came to provoke her, Rhea felt that she should give the other party some gifts. Of course, she will not take action personally. With Sierra being protected by the magicians from the Magic Association, she didn't want to cause the situation between Cydia Base and the magicians from the Magic Association to worsen even further, so she will just play some tricks. Okay. Samuel smiled dotingly. Mr. Jones looked at the two people and suddenly missed his wife. His son's expression was a bit unbearable to see, and Mr. Jones really didn't want to see it. TSK, who didn't have a wife. He will go home and spend the night with his wife once he was done with work today. There was no more overtime. Anyway, about the corpse eater flying magic beasts. Tell the military to do bloodletting and just keep their blood. If they want to use the corpse for research, they could also do it, but the blood of these corpse eater flying magic beasts are valuable for Runemaster and weapon refiner, Rhea reminded. She had already said this to Samuel before, and she guessed that Samuel should have already told Mr. Jones about this. Perhaps, the other party had already known about this matter even before he said anything. But she still wanted to remind Mr. Jones. The chaos lines are divergent and I want to do some experimentation. Rhea knew that Corpse Eater flying magic beast's blood was valuable for Runemaster above rank 7. Unfortunately, she only knew that the Corpse Eater flying magic beast's blood was used for Magic Scroll of Creation. There were no other formation that she knew had to use Corpse Eater flying magic beast's blood. So she planned to do experiments on her own. Because her teacher taught her that once someone reached rank 7, their future paths would diverge much more. The existing professions could not completely cover up all their possible future paths. They had to figure it out themselves. Besides, advancement from rank 7 would be even slower, so many of them would usually try to learn various things when they were at rank 7. Meditation alone would not be enough to advance from rank 7. Yes, I will discuss this with Continent X, Mr. Jones said without hesitation. Continent X. That necromancer should have built his own kingdom. Am I right? Samuel remembered something and looked at Mr. Jones. Even though he and Rhea were basically busy running around to deal with the rank 7 magic beasts, he could guess the movements of other returnees more or less. Their government and officials seemed to like sharing the news about the other returnees to their own returnees. The reason? To motivate them to work hard and become stronger. They didn't want to be left behind. This was somewhat childish, but Samuel could see that the governments were hoping that they would not lose their domination or something like that, which was why they let these returnees be the one to compete. Perhaps they had realized that these returnees were secretly competing with each other. After all, it would be more fun if there was some competition. Even if the paths they took were different, these returnees were secretly competing with each other after knowing their existences. But, with how things develop, it seemed that this would not be a simple competition anymore but rather something deeper. After all, it could be seen that some returnees didn't only want to compete with other returnees but had their own goal. How do you know about it? Mr. Jones stunned. He hadn't had the time to tell Samuel about the other returnees' situation. Aside from Murin, whom Samuel knew avoiding the track and seemed to have gone in hiding, Samuel didn't receive any information about other returnees. But he knew that Pena was building his own kingdom? Guessed, Samuel replied. Almost all necromancer in that world built their own world after they have reached rank 7. Before they reached rank 7, they usually didn't want to let others know that they were necromancer. The main reason was because many necromancers were hated by other people because of their actions. They would turn their friends, comrades, and even family members into their own army. Thus, many necromancers were hated. There were even those called Lich, which was necromancer who had transformed their own bodies. There were also the Lich in the wilderness. Forget it. There were many variation. In any case, Samuel didn't like any of them and always felt annoyed when he thought about their development. Mr. Jones was silent for a moment. Continent X wants to trust him because he's the only returnee in their continent and they didn't want to lose the chance of dominance. But things seems to backfire. Because the powerful Pena the necromancer instead turned against them and killed countless people. When Mr. Jones heard it, he felt painful. No matter what, it was still human lives. He sighed deeply when he thought about this matter. Did he actively kill people or stay in his island? Samuel asked. If Pena actively killed people outside of the island, he would have no other choice but to go and fight against the other party. Because Samuel didn't want Pena to turn the entire planet into his kingdom. But if Pena remained in his island and didn't try to attack, then he would ignore the other party and leave him be. He stayed in the island and didn't show any sign of leaving, Mr. Jones replied. To be honest, Continent X has been giving a lot of help requests to other continents. But everyone was busy with their own affairs and had no time to pay attention to other continents. Continent Z was in a slightly better situation. They had also communicated with Continent W and had come into some agreement. But for the other continents, well, leave it be for now. The returnees in Continent Y and Continent X were clearly a bit more extreme and might be hard to deal with. Mr. Jones didn't really want to let Samuel head over to help, but he couldn't make the decision for his son. Whether Samuel went there or not, it would depend on Samuel's own wishes. He will just convey the message as truthfully as possible. Then monitor him, and if he made a move, tell me, Samuel said. Fighting against a necromancer would be extremely difficult, and Samuel was not a person who liked to make trouble for himself. As long as that necromancer didn't start an active massacre, Samuel would ignore him. There was no point in caring for him either way. Rhea rubbed her hand. I need a lot of materials, uncle. What do you need? Magic beasts' corpses, Rhea replied without hesitation. She actually wanted their magic cores more than their corpses, but she knew that it would be difficult to request for these things. Anyway, her goal was to let her world create more mana stone for her to replenish her mana. Because Rhea understood that if she wanted to leave the green planet and head towards the other world, she needed to make a thorough preparation. If these returnees tried to destroy other continents for some reasons, they had to be able to stop them. Rhea's brain worked quickly to set up a defense system that could protect the people whom she cared for in this place even when she was not around. The best option would be to make defense mechanism that could defend against rank 8. But Rhea herself is only rank 7. If she wanted to make something that could kill a rank 8, then she would have to prepare a lot of things. I'll prepare them, Mr. Jones replied without hesitation. I'll trade the corpse eater flying magic beast for more magic beast's corpses, Samuel said immediately. Continent X definitely had to face a lot of magic beasts during this period of time. He was absolutely sure that Leon the weapon refiner would be interested in the corpse eater flying magic beast's blood. What he needed from the other party was simply the magic beast's corpses that they had eliminated. Anyway, many magic beasts couldn't be eaten, and the green planet's current technology was not enough to process them. Even though it was not impossible for them to try keeping these magic beasts' corpses fresh through using the space storage scroll, they wouldn't be willing to keep so many magic beasts' corpses for the sake of research for so many years. It would be more cost-effective to trade them with something they needed more. Leon had contributed a lot, and Continent X will definitely try to protect him as he was completely different from Pena. He's a weapon refiner. In a way, his position was actually similar to Rhea, a support. The main difference is that Rhea worked hard to be able to create a way for her to be an all-rounder while Leon stayed on the back. Rhea didn't want to put her life in the hands of others. But Leon had no problem with it because he trusted the people around him. Don't you want to exchange the corpse eater flying magic beast's blood with other resources that you need? Rhea asked in confusion. Most of the resources I need can't be obtained by anyone on the green planet. Samuel shook his head. The magic scroll of creation that you made through using the corpse eater flying magic beast's blood is far more useful. Rhea blinked her eyes and then nodded somewhat absent-mindedly. She really didn't expect that Samuel would think so highly of the magic scroll of creation that she showed to him not long ago. Because while it was useful, there were also a lot of limitations. Then again, Samuel should have a completely different idea how to use these magic scrolls of creation. In that case, you should keep these corpse eater flying magic beast's blood, Mr. Jones said without hesitation. He could easily ask the military to keep these corpse eater flying magic beast's blood after getting them. No need. We have hunted enough, and the rest should be used by the government to trade for what they need. Samuel thought for a moment and then frowned. But I don't know how much Leon the weapon refiner will need. After all, Rhea's knowledge about weapon refiner was limited, and she only knew that they could use the corpse eater flying magic beast's blood, but didn't know how much they usually need. We can try to ask, Mr. Jones said. Yes. As for Pena, just send people to watch over his movement, or rather, use the satellite to watch over his movement. Before reaching rank 8 or rank 9, it's not possible for us to attack above the atmosphere, Samuel replied without hesitation. Mr. Jones nodded thoughtfully and then he froze. Before rank 8 and rank 9? Does it mean that if they had reached that rank, it wouldn't be possible for anyone to restrict them anymore? Just thinking about the fact that these returnees might destroy the green planet made Mr. Jones' expression turn bad. The scale of these people's abilities was getting higher and higher. It was really troublesome. Father, you don't have to worry so much. We're all basically restraining each other with our presence alone, Samuel said when he saw his father's expression. Samuel really couldn't bear to tell his father that once they reached rank 7, they really needed higher laws to bind them, because the existing laws and the people on the green planet couldn't restrict them. Otherwise, how could Pena be so arrogant? He used the officials and basically the entire country and didn't care about it in the slightest bit because he knew that they couldn't do anything to him. The military were not even as strong as him, which made him swell. The reason why Pena didn't dare to actively try to attack others was because he knew that there were other returnees who sided with their government. Most of the returnees in Continent Z and Continent W were the main examples. And they were not weak. If they collaborated and tried to deal with him, then Pena might not be able to handle it and will collapse midway. As for competing to reach rank 8 first, it was impossible to reach rank 8 anytime soon. Every improvement would be more difficult, and the difference between rank 7 and rank 8 was not something that could be crossed so easily. But you wouldn't stay here forever. Mr. Jones looked at his son calmly. Yes, so I have to make enough preparation to protect Cydia Base, Samuel responded truthfully. What Ria could see, he could naturally see as well. Moreover, Samuel's knowledge about the threats of other returnees and the fragile balance of the political situation all over the world would be much higher than Ria. But Samuel's methods were different from Ria. While she would use formation and runes to create some protection, what Samuel could use was very different. Forget it. You can do whatever you want. Now that you're back, do you want to go back and rest first? If there's no urgent matters, you can go back to rest. Mr. Jones looked at his son's eyes carefully. Samuel saw his father's gaze and his lips twitched. If you're looking for my black circles, they have long disappeared after I become magic warrior. Father. Magic warriors have strong body and also mana to regulate their bodies. Even though Samuel used to have thick black circles because he was so busy in his business, his appearance improved greatly after coming back from that world and started practicing. Mr. Jones didn't usually pay attention to his children's appearance, so he didn't seem to notice this. Huh? Is that so? Mr. Jones looked bewildered and couldn't help but look at Samuel's face a few more times. It seemed to be true. Samuel's lips twitched and he decided to pull Ria away from his father. Wait. Is there anything else about Cydia Base that we need to hear? Ria patted Samuel's hand, preventing him from pulling her away. This man is really impatient. There's one more thing. Stephen and Sophia left Cydia Base, Mr. Jones said slowly. Upon hearing this, the two people stared straight at Mr. Jones. Their expression was not very good. Even though they have some understanding of the Carson family and could guess how this happened, it was still unpleasant to hear it from Mr. Jones that Stephen and Sophia left Cydia Base. Where? Ria asked. They didn't say, and it seems that they're traveling lightly, Mr. Jones replied. The soldiers watched as Sophia and Stephen left some time ago, and the two of them didn't seem to be taking anything from the Carson family. It was also possible that they have been prepared from a long time ago, so they didn't bother coming back to the Carson family. Seeing the two people's faces, Mr. Jones silently handed over the report that his subordinate had compiled before. Even though he had informed Samuel and Ria about Sierra's matter, but it seemed that he forgot to tell them about Sophia and Stephen's affairs. Then again, he had the feeling that even if these two people knew about it, they couldn't change these two people's decision. Stephen and Sophia wanted to leave Cydia Base. The main reason was naturally to stay away from the Carson family, but it would be inevitable for them to leave their friends in the process, because the others had no intention of leaving Cydia Base. Samuel frowned. He looked at the letter that his father showed to him. It was written by Stephen and purposely left behind for him. The content was short and there didn't seem to be anything important. After all, there was a possibility that someone might open the letter to check it before it was handed over to Samuel. Though, based on the visual inspection, it seemed to be intact from the very beginning. Still, Samuel's expression was still dark. What did the Carson family do? Ria asked. Her voice was cold. I don't know for sure, but it should be another request for them. The Carson family has been expanding rapidly in the past few months and had a lot of connections. If you want to deal with them, tell me first so that I can be prepared for the backlash. Mr. Jones shrugged. He would not stop these two people if they wanted to deal with the Carson family on their own. After all, he couldn't really control either one of them. Ever since more than a year ago, Samuel has become a magic warrior and it was almost impossible to control him anymore. He had his own goals and his own method to deal with things. Besides, Mr. Jones didn't look favorably on the Carson family. She wouldn't want me to kill them all. Ria rubbed her forehead and had already taken out her phone, texting Sophia. If the other party was right in front of her, Ria would have long asked Sophia what the other party wanted to do. She will definitely help Sophia destroy the entire Carson family if it was necessary. Anyway, it was just a small family. This wouldn't be the first time she did something like this. The problem is, Sophia didn't want it. Seeing the message sent by Sophia in her phone, Ria's face darkened. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. I know the Carson family is not the best family and also quite excessive, but I don't want you to kill people, Ria. Let them be, and I'm sure that there will be other backlash that grandfather suffered because of his principle. Little soft, Ria, but soft. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing and my brother had made the arrangement. If you move rashly, you might end up disturbing his arrangement. Little soft, Ria, fine, but if you need help or if they do anything excessive, I'll take action. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. If they dared to scheme against you, then you're free to attack them. I'll never stop you. Little soft, Ria, that's good. Ria looked at the message in her phone and pursed her lips. If it was not because Sophia was not here, Ria really wanted to persuade the other party more. TSK. At this moment, Ria truly felt that the magic beasts were annoying. Without these magic beasts, there wouldn't be so many chaos and intrigues like what they experienced right now. Beside Ria, Samuel also messaged Stephen and received similar answer. Even though Samuel was not happy, but he also knew that this was indeed the Carson family's internal matter. It was not convenient for him to make any move to destroy the entire Carson family on his own. Mr. Jones watched the two of them calmly. He had long expected that neither Samuel or Ria would be able to accept Stephen and Sophia's current situation well. After all, they were all friends who have been together for a long time. Even though Samuel and Ria were both going to the crack and left their friends for a period of time, the friendship they had built before couldn't be erased so easily. When someone needed help, the others will definitely lend a hand one way or another. And right now, both Sophia and Stephen were kicked out of City Base because of the Carson family. While Mr. Jones will never restrict them from coming back, he actually doubted that they would come back. Because as long as the Carson family was still in City Base, it would be difficult for these two people to come back. Have you made your decision? Mr. Jones asked. I can't do much to them since she didn't want me to. Ria was not happy that Sophia stopped her from directly destroying the Carson family. But at the same time, she also knew that there were some things that she could do. But help me restrict the things I made from being delivered to their hands. She had made a lot of magic scrolls and various other things that was useful for the base and the entire continents. Even the space storage scrolls were basically something that Ria gave out for the people on the green planet. Without her, other returnees wouldn't be able to make it. Because none of them were Runemasters. They have their own respective profession that they learned to the extreme and will naturally not spend their time learning other things when it was unnecessary. None of them wanted to waste their time studying other paths that they will never need in their entire life. The result was naturally many of them didn't have side profession. And thinking that they only have 4 years or so in that world, it was obvious that they didn't have much chance to learn many things. The time limit has been set. When the large magic beast's tide arrived, none of them would be able to survive as the entire world was destroyed. I can make the arrangement, Mr. Jones said with a sigh. He was sure that the Carson family will definitely complain after they found out that they couldn't obtain many things that originated from Ria. As for being angry, they had to dare come in front of Ria and face her directly. That's good. Ria nodded in satisfaction. I'll make some other arrangement first. Wait for a moment, Samuel said, and then went to his own office right beside his father's. He rarely came here, and the office was usually empty because no one dared to come in without Samuel's permission. Ria glanced at Samuel's back and then turned her head back. Would you like to follow him? Mr. Jones asked with a faint smile. There's no need. Ria shook her head. I wouldn't be able to understand many things related to business. Everyone had their own strength and weaknesses. There was no need for her to make trouble and try to follow Samuel. because Ria was absolutely sure that she wouldn't be able to understand what he was planning to do. "If you would like to learn, I can teach you," Mr. Jones said kindly. Ria blinked her eyes and looked at Mr. Jones in front of her. Seeing his warm and kind look, Ria seemed to understand that he was looking at her as if she's his own daughter, because she had seen him looking at his own children like that. Thinking about her own parents, Ria's fingers clenched for a moment before relaxing. There were parents who loved their children and willing to do anything for them so that they could grow up safely and live well. But there were also parents who didn't care for their children and let them grow up freely without supervision. Even worse, there were parents who abandoned or abused their own children. Ria used to be jealous of the people who could have good parents, because she never experienced any of them. From the moment she could remember things, she only knew that her mother was always crying because of her father's behavior, and her father was busy staying out to stay with the mistress. The young her couldn't understand. And even after she grew up, Ria never truly understood her parents' behavior. If they had never truly loved each other, why did they get married in the first place? Shouldn't they pick someone else who were more suitable for them to live together for the rest of their lives? Ria didn't understand. And after her parents went their own separate ways, they were too busy with their own affairs to care for the young child. With them unable to take care of her, they even alarmed the Child Protection Bureau to come forward. Otherwise, Ria might not be able to survive. Even then, her childhood was filled with the scene where everyone ignored or bullied her. The children bullied her because they knew that even if she was beaten up, she had no one to turn to. No one would protect her. She had no family. Struggling to grow up alone, Ria learned to be independent and do things on her own. She was not used to share things with other people, and even if she had come to the decision to stay together with Samuel for the rest of her life, it was still somewhat surreal. Moreover, Ria herself didn't know what she should do in a relationship. And now seeing Mr. Jones' attitude of already including her in his family, Ria felt that having a family is really good. In that world, Ria also didn't have anyone to rely on and had to struggle by herself. If she wanted to survive, she had to work and figured out the chance to stand up and all by herself. Because no one would be willing to help her. They were too busy with their own affairs to care about her. "Thank you, Uncle," Ria said brightly. "You can call me Father if you want to," Mr. Jones said helplessly. Knowing Ria's life experience, he felt distressed of this child who was forced to grow up even when she was young. Other people could grow up normally and only learned many things after they had grown up. But Ria had to understand everything when she was still very young. Thinking about this made Mr. Jones really distressed. Now that Ria is about to become his daughter-in-law, Mr. Jones felt that he should treat her better and let her feel the warmth of the Jones family. The Jones family might not be the best family nor has the best environment, but he will do his best to make it comfortable for Ria to stay together with his family. Wouldn't that be too early? Ria was stunned. She's not married to Samuel yet. And it hasn't been that long since Ria confirmed her relationship with Samuel, and their way of getting along hadn't changed that much. Oh, the biggest difference is that Samuel was now standing close to her and seemed to be particularly fond of it. She herself didn't mind and also liked it, but if they were too close with each other when fighting, it would only hinder their movements. "It doesn't matter," Mr. Jones laughed. "I'm sure that Brat would be willing to marry you at any moment as long as you agreed." Ria blushed at Mr. Jones' words. "Uncle! Ha ha ha!" On the room beside Mr. Jones, Samuel silently covered his face with his hand. What is his father talking about with Ria? He was here doing something serious, and he was instead teasing his future wife. Ahem. Even though it was true, Samuel didn't really want his father to be the one to convey it to Ria. It would be better for him to be the one to tell everything to Ria and let her understand him more. Forget it. He better finish this quickly. Samuel snorted and quickly sorted out the few things. He might not be in office for long, but he was still very familiar with various things due to his previous experience. Stephen and Sophia didn't want him to be obvious, so he had to go through another angle. But it would only make things slower. Outside of City A base, Stephen and Sophia's side. The two of them had already left City A base for some time and were basically traveling lightly. After all, the space magic scroll allowed them to keep everything they needed inside the separate space, and all they needed to prepare is only a magic scroll. After answering the message from Samuel, Stephen had a bitter smile on his face. He understood that Samuel and Rhea should have only returned after they finished dealing with the magic beasts some time ago. And after knowing what had happened to them, how could Samuel and Rhea not contact them to ask about the situation? So the two of them had to stop and answer first. Brother, would it be fine for them to go against the Carson family? Sophia felt a bit guilty when she thought that Rhea might not truly back down from making trouble to the Carson family. After all, Rhea and Amelia were both stubborn people to a certain degree. Thinking about this, Sophia felt that the Carson family might even want to retaliate against them. What if they got hurt? Even though the possibility was low considering their current abilities and skills, Sophia couldn't help but worry. The Carson family would not have the time to care about them personally, Stephen said consolingly. They will be busy with various other things and have no time to care about Samuel and Rhea or even Amelia. Well, with the Jones family behind Amelia, old Master Carson would not recklessly try to trouble the other party. While that old guy was annoying, stubborn, and also power-obsessed, he also has keen senses of the situation and will try his best to make sure that he would never fall into disadvantage. So facing the Jones family, he will definitely be more careful. As long as the Jones family didn't have the intention to fight an all-out battle until death, old Master Carson would also retain his hand. What did you prepare, brother? Sophia looked at her brother suspiciously. The smile on his face made her wonder if Stephen had actually dug a mine for the Carson family. Nothing. Stephen shook his head. Brother, don't lie to me. Who would believe that Stephen prepared nothing for the Carson family? Just by the fact that old Master Carson agreed to let them go right away had already told Sophia that her brother should have done something to the Carson family. And this something should be vital. Otherwise, old Master Carson would not have agreed so easily when Stephen asked to let him and Sophia left. Stephen looked at his sister helplessly and said, I just leaked some information to other families. As for what they're going to do, that's up to them. He wouldn't manage so much. Even if the world had changed, those families that used to be powerful still has their own way to retain their power to a certain degree. Not all of them were successful, but those who did were all extremely remarkable. Each and every single one of them figured out their own survival methods. In City A Base, the Jones family rise to the top, but there were still some smaller families around, including the Carson family. Stephen just leaked some information to the other families there. If they were willing to take the bet, they might be able to take some meat that belonged to the Carson family. I see. You're really bad, brother. It sounded like scolding, but Sophie was actually smiling when she faced her brother. Stephen was carefully looking at his sister's expression and heaved a sigh secretly when he saw that she didn't seem to mind. After all, what he did was quite despicable from the Carson family's point of view. Then again, the two of them didn't have much sense of belonging to the Carson family. Let's go, brother. Sophia looked at her brother helplessly. While she felt sorry for her father, but she knew that the one who treated her the best is her brother. So for the sake of her brother, she would never side with the Carson family. As long as her brother didn't kill them personally, it seemed that Sophia could accept anything. Okay. Stephen nodded and led the way forward. It might be a bit difficult to find some supplies, but since they were already prepared, the two of them remained calm and composed. City A Base, Samuel and Rhea's side. Samuel didn't take that much time to finish his work and handed over a document to his father. Mr. Jones didn't seem to be surprised and nodded at his son. Is there anything that you need to do? After handing the documents over to his father, Samuel held Rhea's hand and pulled her away. He heard his father's voice and shook his head. No, there's nothing else. Okay, let's go back. Right. Mr. Jones saw the couple that left without hesitation and rolled his eyes. He had the feeling that Samuel was already impatient and wanted to drag his daughter-in-law away. It was just, do you think it's not enough that you have been on a mission together for more than a day and night? Mr. Jones' lips twitched. The two of them wouldn't be so clingy with each other, right? He really couldn't imagine his confident and arrogant son being like that. Arnold and Amelia's side. While Samuel dragged Ria back to the Jones family residence for her to rest, Arnold and Amelia were on their way back to Cydia base after hunting a few magic beasts around. He received message from Reuben about Samuel's activities and for them to pay attention to the corpse-eater flying magic beasts nearby. Amelia, did you see this in the past few days? Arnold showed his phone to Amelia where it was showing the picture of a corpse-eater flying magic beast. There were so many corpse-eater flying magic beasts that Ria and Samuel had to face, so it was easy for them to take the chance to take pictures. Moreover, the military were also moving to clean up the corpse-eater flying magic beasts. Bringing some researchers with them would help them to record these corpse-eater flying magic beasts' weaknesses, habits, and so on. After all, the researchers always wanted comprehensive report. But how could the soldiers who were busy fighting on the verge of life and death cared about it? So they just directly assigned some researcher to stay on the back and complete the task of data gathering and so on. Only in this way would these people be satisfied. One of their results was naturally the high-definition photo of the corpse-eater flying magic beast. It was sent to the bases directly for their leaders to take a look. Amelia leaned over and read out the text. The corpse-eater flying magic beasts have appeared on the large number. No, I have never seen those ugly magic beasts. Besides, these corpse-eater flying magic beasts are flying magic beasts, so it would be obvious if they appear. There were not that many flying magic beasts around Cydia base for some reason. Some people speculated that it was because of the terrain, while some other people guessed that it should be because there were not many flying magic beasts in the first place. But no matter what, it was a good thing for them, because these flying magic beasts were harder to deal with compared to the usual magic beast of the same rank. Samuel and Ria have been dealing with millions of corpse-eater flying magic beasts not long ago. They said that the remaining corpse-eater flying magic beasts are scattered and warn us not to fight them if we did encounter it. Why? Can you attack a flying magic beast? Arnold looked at his girlfriend helplessly. Sometimes he really wondered what was in her head. Ah! I forgot. The two of them were magic warriors and they lacked the long-distance attack methods that some other professions had. So if they were to see corpse-eater flying magic beasts, it was unlikely that their attack could hit. They would be too far away. Maybe I need to learn more magic spells. Amelia thought about asking Ria for this. After all, most of the magic spells that Samuel used had extremely high control requirement for the long-distance attack. Otherwise, the attack would be no different from a normal close-distance attack. And Amelia's control was a bit, well, hard to say. Samuel should have already taught you a lot of magic warriors' magic spell. Arnold looked at Amelia in confusion. Yes, but I think that I should try to ask Ria. Are you sure that you have enough mana to cast her magic spells? Amelia froze. That's right, if it was magician's magic spell, the mana requirement would be too much for magic warrior. If it was not because of this, there wouldn't be the specially developed magic spells for magic warriors. The next moment, Amelia wilted. Arnold sighed and pulled Amelia forward as he handed over his ID card to enter Cydia base. Exiting and entering Cydia base had to be recorded, but there were two completely different lines. The first one was for ordinary people who wanted to enter Cydia base, and the other one was for people above rank 1 who went out because they wanted to fight the magic beasts. In this way, they could enter the city quickly. Amelia showed her ID card, and after tapping the machine, the two of them could enter Cydia base without any problem. How about if I try to ask the other magic warrior returnee who have long-distance attack? Amelia tried to struggle once more. Arnold immediately knew who Amelia meant and shook his head helplessly. Her weapon is bow and arrows while yours is sword because of your brother's teaching. Do you think you can still be patient and learn new weapon again? Just to train the swords, Amelia almost ran away from home. If she was asked to train bow and arrows, could Amelia withstand the boring training once more? Amelia? Forget it. She didn't want to humiliate herself. Even though Amelia felt that it was a pity that she couldn't learn suitable magic spells and could only be a close-distance battle attacker, Amelia could only accept this. Anyway, fighting didn't seem to be so bad in her opinion by now. After being forced to train and fight for such a long time, Amelia already felt much more comfortable with these things. It's Ria. Amelia saw Samuel and Ria walking from the direction of her father's office, and her eyes lit up. Wait, let's not disturb them. Arnold pulled Amelia before she could become the third wheel again. The two people had already noticed them, but they didn't seem to have any intention of greeting them. Ah, they must be tired after fighting many magic beasts out there, so you should be more considerate, Mel, Arnold said without changing his face. Tired? Considering the fact that high-ranking magic warriors didn't really need to sleep for days and could still fight freely, even Arnold couldn't believe this excuse. Moreover, Samuel was not someone who couldn't take care of himself. When there was a chance, he would definitely take a break and rest. There was also Rhea beside him, and Samuel would definitely want to take care of himself more than anything, because he didn't want to make the other party worry about him. Ha! Amelia blinked her eyes and then noticed her brother who was staying with Rhea and seemed to be pulling her arm. Amelia? Got it. She should not disturb her brother who was trying to woo her future sister-in-law. But Amelia was busy complaining in her mind. Rhea is her best friend, so how come she was the one who had to stay away when these two people were together? TSK. Arnold chuckled when he saw Amelia puffed her cheek like a pufferfish. It was so cute and adorable. He really wanted to press her cheek. But he restrained himself and looked away. At this moment, he saw Nicholas, who was staring in the direction of Samuel. Nicholas! Arnold called out. After their greetings before, Arnold and Amelia didn't purposely look for Nicholas and his team anymore. After all, it was obvious that his team members didn't have any good impression of Amelia. There was no need to make trouble with his team members. From their words before, Arnold thought that Nicholas would leave as soon as possible, but it seemed that he was still staying here. He thought that Nicholas didn't want to stay here for long. I'm going today, and I thought of saying goodbye this time, Nicholas said with an unruly smile on his face. He looked like a gangster more than anything. You better take care of yourself well. Arnold patted Nicholas's shoulder and then looked at the people who followed Nicholas. How should he say this? The number had decreased. Not everyone will come with me as they have different destination, Nicholas said lazily when he noticed his brother's gaze. And I'll deal with the people who only knows how to make trouble. Arnold nodded calmly and retracted his gaze back. How Nicholas dealt with his men was not his business, but he also noticed that the two women who provoked Amelia some time ago had disappeared. It seemed that his brother was still adopting the same rules as before. Only the strong could survive. And in their group, Nicholas has the absolute say. He will not let anyone who dared to make trouble stay behind. Very ruthless, but that was just how it is. All right. See you again in the future, Nicholas. Yes, and Arnold. Be careful around your friends. He's very strong. Arnold was stunned, but before he could say anything, Nicholas had already turned around and left without hesitation. He looked at his brother's back and then moved his gaze in the direction where Samuel had just passed by. Nicholas knew that he and Samuel were friends. This was because Arnold kept the picture when he was young and played together with Samuel, Stephen, and Reuben. For troublemaker teenagers who loved to make trouble. He forgot who took the pictures, but he kept their pictures together when he went to the border, so Nicholas had already seen Samuel's face before. But Arnold didn't explain much about their identities at that time because it was not convenient for him to reveal everything to his brother. Arnold was absolutely sure that Nicholas didn't know more about Samuel. Why did he warn me about Sam? He knew Samuel much more than Nicholas. The fact that Samuel is a dangerous person is also something that Arnold knew very well because Samuel is a returnee. Having experienced a few years in a completely different world and built his own power, it was impossible for Samuel to remain ordinary. This was something that Arnold knew very clearly. At the same time, he knew that Samuel will not hurt him. Arnold. Amelia called Kud from the side. Her tone was doubtful when she looked at Arnold beside her. It's nothing. Arnold shook his head. Your brother. He might have some misunderstanding. Arnold rubbed Amelia's head and then pointed to Mr. Jones' office. Let's go back to report. Oh. The so-called report was nothing more than stating how many magic beasts they have killed and Amelia's training progress. This was something that Mr. Jones requested because he wanted to know his daughter's growth. Besides, they also had to pay some taxes to City A base after completing each mission. Let's go. While Arnold and Amelia headed back to Mr. Jones' office, Nicholas was thinking about the man and woman whom he accidentally seen not long ago. His original plan was to stay in City A base for a while and collected enough resources before going out and busy fighting against countless magic beasts again. After all, he didn't have any interest to pay a visit to other city bases. There were too many annoying people. Nicholas didn't understand how these people managed to survive for such a long time, but he knew that he couldn't really do anything to them because of various reasons. In any case, he will try to avoid them as much as possible. But when he passed by the two people, even though it was only from a distance, Nicholas could sense his body has a stress reaction. It was indication to himself that the two people were very dangerous. So dangerous that he might not be able to survive if he came any closer to them. Not even his brother could give him such a big reaction, even though Nicholas could see that Arnold's strength had improved rapidly in the past few years. Or perhaps this was the improvement after the earthquake happened. Nicholas didn't know for sure, but he didn't like staying close to someone so dangerous. Moreover, this was someone whom his brother knew because he had seen his brother's picture with them. Arnold didn't explain clearly, but it was obvious that they were his best friends if they could take photos together in such an environment. TSK. Befriending such a dangerous person. Forget it. It's not my place to say anything. Nicholas walked out of the gate after registering his exit. He had no plan to come back to City A base in the future. There was such a dangerous person around and he had other businesses to do. Boss, where are we going? The capital city, Nicholas replied indifferently. Huh? Would those people be willing to let you go if you appear in front of them, boss? The man who followed Nicholas shrank his neck in fear. They have a lot of enemies even before the earthquake happened. If they headed over to the capital city, wasn't it the same as sending themselves to the tiger mouth? It's better to settle the grudge as soon as possible. Yes, boss. Samuel and Riaz sighed. When Nicholas stared in their direction intently, the two of them naturally also noticed it. However, they didn't recognize the other party. I thought he's your enemy again. Riaz pushed the door to the Jones family residence open. No, I don't know him. Samuel shook his head. But he does look similar to someone I know. Who? Arnold. Huh. Riaz was stunned and then replayed the picture from before. After a moment of silence, she said, They didn't look that similar in my opinion. Samuel chuckled and then asked, How do you feel about his mana fluctuation? Can you sense the attributes? Upon reaching rank 7, their senses have become much more sensitive. And there was some mana fluctuation around that man's body, which could be used as reference to test his attributes. Of course, Samuel himself couldn't do this, but he had heard that some magicians with extremely keen senses and great control over magic could do this. Since Riaz seemed to fulfill both conditions, he tried to ask the other party. It's earth, wood, and metal. Oh, the same as Arnold. Riaz seemed to realize something and then looked at Samuel. Then how did you know it? The aura. Nicholas is also a warrior and his aura is more than 80% similar to Arnold, Samuel replied. For warriors, they could easily identify their enemies through their auras and so on. Samuel naturally also used this method to identify people. While it was not impossible to use mana for identification, he was more used to use aura that magic warriors has compared to the mana. Relatives' aura are similar? Riaz asked curiously. She didn't know much about warriors. If they're both warriors, yes. Relatives are usually quite similar to each other. Samuel thought for a moment and added, around 50% to 90% similar.